I'm excited to share these live episodes with you from the 2024 NADA show in Las Vegas. I'm on the Lot Link stage interviewing our industry leaders out there who have been so gracious to share the stage with me. We're doing live recordings. They're sharing strategies to help our industry and our businesses level up. I hope you enjoy each and every one of these episodes. Listen and learn. Hey, it's Jen Suzuki, and I'm in the industry. I meet some of the greatest leaders out there, dealer execs, dealers, GMs, and I'm bringing them in the studio to talk to me about what's making their business pop, what's accelerating their growth. I'm sharing my own personal strategies for your sales teams, so I'm ready to get after it. Are you? Hey, welcome back, listeners. We're doing a live podcast here at NADA Show. Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where I am always looking for leaders in the industry that have done some really awesome stuff in their dealerships and are willing to share the wealth of information with our fellow colleagues out there that are looking to level up. And I've got Kayla Kody here with me today. And she is in Richmond, Virginia. She's got a few Ford stores. But I've watched Kayla do a lot of innovative things in her dealership. And she's one of the coolest people that has crossed my path in a long time. She's young. She has a lot of energy. She's willing to try things that are outside the box. You know, she was in real estate before she came on board. She's dived into improving service, parts, sales, BDC, everything. And welcome, Kayla. Thank you for sharing your time with me today.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
Well, I know you got a million things to do. But what I would like to ask you about are some of the approaches that you take in your organization that impact your culture in a way that maybe separates you from everybody else. I'll tell you what, I've trained in Kayla's stores, both service and sales, and I can tell you this, for years, I come back and it's the same people. You know, I see the same faces. And so, you know, a lot of times we struggle with turnover and we struggle with keeping good people in our companies. Tell me about your culture. Tell me about some of the changes you've made. Tell me why. Tell me the ups and downs. Tell me the whole secret sauce to being such a leader in not only the industry, but in keeping people.
Yeah, so I think the first thing when I got there was I realized that we were the typical automotive dealership, right? Lots of churn and burn,
yes.
I'll call it. And I didn't find that to be helpful. A lot of that onus was on us, though, because it was partially the way that we were treating our people. Like, we weren't necessarily investing in them, so why would they stay? That doesn't make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times we put people in the place and we don't give them any training or any instruction. Exactly. We're just like, you can do this.
Trial by fire, baby. That's the way that we do it in automotive. Here you go. You were the best salesman. Now you're going to coach people. You were the best advisor. Like, now you're going to try to manage a whole technician group.
Yes.
You know, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And there was pushback, right? Because when you look at your training budget, it's really low. I would be shocked if anyone was like, oh, my training budget is huge.
Oh.
And there's usually pushback from leaders who are like, oh, well, it's really expensive. And what if they go to training? And what if they leave us? And I always respond with, well, what if they grow?
Right. What if they stay?
Yeah, what if they grow? And so that was the first tweak that we had to make, right? Because we can't just bring in good people and say, okay, well, they're going to stay. Like, that was the first tweak. We started doing training. You're a part of that training. And ADA is part of that training. Like, we're sending them to classes all the time, giving them exposure that truthfully they really need.
Yeah.
And we're asking them to solve really hard problems in our stores because we're so focused on customer service. How are we supposed to give them the tools to do that for us if we don't send them to training?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they need something to like lean in on.
Yeah.
They need something to like help them, like be a playbook, a guide. They need a benchmark. They need a process.
And someone to emulate in many cases. We have 3 stores. And one of the things I was really disappointed in is there's a ton of collective knowledge there, and it is not shared between the stores. Like, yes, we want to have friendly competition because we are in similar markets.
Right, because you've got the same franchise in the same market.
Same franchise, same market. But at the same time, like, why is my top advisor not speaking to all of these stores?
Yeah.
So training, like what we do with you or, you know, things that we do ourselves even, was a great way to do that. We started walk-around competitions for sales and service between all 3 stores. And we really just started saying, hey guys, don't be so afraid to share knowledge between each other. Like we've got some incredible veterans and we've got some brilliant new minds. Like why don't we meld these two things together?
So how do you do that? So you have you have competitions amongst all three stores, and so they have to come together. And I know like some of these stores are spread out from each other. So then is it like a central location? How often do you do this? And do you have like set requirements? Is it like regular walk around stuff, or do you do something extra?
So there's always cash behind it because that's exciting, right? But really, I don't even think they care so much about that as it is the glory. Like,
The fame, the recognition.
The fame and the glory is really the most important part to them.
Yeah.
But we'll do it at one of the locations, whoever won last time, or we'll go off site. Okay. I'm a huge fan of getting your people off site because anytime they're in the store, their brain's half there, right? Like somebody's like, oh, there's a fire in service. This is happening over here. You know,
everything's an emergency and I must be pulling people out.
Everything's an emergency because we haven't taught a lot of creative problem solving sometimes, right? So it's like, oh, let me just go get this other person. So I love getting everybody out of the stores, and we'll go to a research center or a hotel. Like, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, one of the things that's super inspiring for me with Kayla is when she does training, it's like a legitimate thing. It's like a schedule. It is like something they talk about. Managers get people pumped. And the other part is that they do it off property. So, and I actually have done a lot of, meetings in hotels and everything, and I like that. But she actually looks for really clever facilities. Like last time we did something together, she found a research and development company that had, these really cool like centers that were designed for feedback, for engagement, designed to get people out of their comfort zone. And they have like 5 different rooms where people could spread out and collab on things. And aside from the massage chairs and the tires, swings hanging from the ceiling, it was really quite an experience for people. And people felt that they could be a bit more creative being in this space. And I said, I'm going to recommend that even my clients start doing stuff like this. But that's what I mean by it makes training fun when they're in an environment they're not used to. Okay,
100%.
But tell me more.
100%. And having your managers actively engaged in that training is so important, because how are they supposed to teach these things if they cannot do them themselves?
Ooh.
And then also having to watch their team go up there and either execute it perfectly, which is going to tell them, I'm doing a great job at my 8:30 a.m. huddle, my 7 o'clock, 6 a.m. huddle, whatever it might be, right? Like my team's doing awesome at that. This is the right track for this. If they're watching their team struggle, it's an indicator to me to say to that manager, hey, training is not going well. Like this is not what's happening here. And then also they can emulate you. So you have to think about, a lot of times we're like, oh, managers train people. They're not equipped to do that.
Yeah.
In many cases, some of them are natural born leaders who do have a gift of training, but you can always expand upon that by exposing them to new things.
I think it's really important that managers see professional people do. As a salesperson who became a manager but didn't really know how to be a manager. I just was good at sales. And then, you keep going up. But who learns how to train people, which is such a thing that can separate your team amongst everybody else when they know what to do. So so what she's saying is that, a lot of times when the managers come in and they get a chance to experience, new information and how it's being executed and new activities that create engagement, it inspires managers to actually replicate it, amongst their team. And when she talks about the team being able to managers watch their team. What she's talking about is like, I put those people up there on blast. I'm like, okay, look, I just taught you something. It's time to role play. You're like, you need to like actually execute it. And then I have the managers do like feedback, and that gets them engaged, but it teaches them, this is what I need to be doing after Jen bounces.
Exactly. Outside of training, one of the other things, part of the reason that you see the same people in a different place in our organization.
Yes, how do you keep them?
Yeah, well, one of the things we do, it's called the predictive index. And essentially it is I made you take it, so you know exactly what it is.
Oh yes, the personality test.
It's not an old school personality profile that says, okay, you're high on dominance, you'll be a great leader. That's not what it is. No. It takes where the things that drive people and matches them to their correct positions. I've had a ton of internal growth, so I'm not having to hire from outside. Mainly because I'll say, okay, you can only do BDC for so long, right?
Yes.
Like that is a job that will just burn you out so quickly. So we encourage our BDC people to think about what's next.
Yes.
And in that conversation, we're utilizing actual data, right? Like we all have gut feelings about people and what they might be good at,
Right.
but you'll be shocked. And then when I'm like going through and mapping the people who are really great at their jobs, my controller, my service managers, my sales managers, I'm taking those personality aspects or the things that drive them and using them to see who my future leaders are. I'm using it when I'm hiring people to make sure I have the right match for them. I'm using it when someone's not happy in their current role. Like, hey, where can we put them?
Where's a good spot for them?
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're not valuable. We might have put them in the wrong place.
Fixed Ops is the business center that drives reoccurring revenue and customer loyalty. With 84% of all monthly calls going to service, making sure every call is answered, responded to, and followed up could be daunting. Call Review Service Vision Pro changes the game on how Fixed Ops manages the phones. And with Service Vision Pro, every call is tracked and summarized so you always have full visibility into every call. And with Service Vision Pro, you're going to get real-time alerts that empower you to be proactive when it comes to mitigating potential issues that could be caused by unanswered calls, voicemails, broken promises, or you just want to be notified of certain keywords like recalls. That matters to you. Service Vision Pro's AI technology is helping dealerships take back the phones and creating a more positive customer experience. So if you're interested in elevating your service experience, head to callreview.com to get started.
Okay. So she's talking about, culture and things that she's implanted into the culture to make it even better. These are things that help keep people. Yeah. And I know that so you may not have heard a previous podcast episode that Kayla's done with me, but you have to listen to it. She talks about a 4-day work week. And this is very progressive, very innovative. It's actually, I think it's my most popular episode I've ever released. Tell me more about this, because that's really, I don't even know how to say it nice. Can I say ballsy? Seriously, that's ballsy, okay? Like, you're going to do a 4-day work week in a car dealership. Literally no one's willing to try stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So again, data, right? Like, I don't like to do things because it's fun or it seems cool or it's a hype word. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The data had to back it up for me. So we went through and we said, okay, can we make this work? Does it make sense? And oh, by the way, let's put it in the places where we struggle to hire people in the first place. So we went through and we said, okay, where does this make sense? Or where might it be the hardest? Let's try it.
Yeah.
So we rolled it out in BDC first.
Okay.
We immediately had no problem attracting quality candidates. We got so much higher quality people that I'm more willing to invest in. So that was the first thing that happened.
Okay.
Then in sales, we were like, okay, let's really think this through because we need to make sure we have adequate coverage at all times. Mm-hmm. Well, we can go through the data and know what days are good and what days maybe aren't as good. Mm. And then we can figure out, not good, but higher traffic, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing in service. You can go through your store and you know exactly what days are going to be high traffic. Yeah. For us, it's Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have full staff on those days, and then everybody else gets 3 days off. Mm-hmm. That is not to say they are working less hours necessarily. They're just there the full day when they're there.
Yeah.
What we've seen is there's a lot of goof off time built into a salesperson's day.
Facts.
A lot of goof off time. And so they're just kind of hanging out like on TikTok, and you can only drive people to do so much when they're spending so much time there. They're also stressed about all the things they have to get done outside of work. It's a huge barrier to get quality people to enter the automotive space because of the hours. We're crazy and we do it nonstop because we love it so much, but I can't expect everyone else to carry that passion. So yeah, it's been incredible. We've gotten probably the most talented staff I've ever seen out of it. And they're staying and they're happy. And, some of them have even taken lesser paying roles in order to get into the jobs that have a 4-day work week.
Wow. So did you roll it out to the salespeople?
Yeah, we've got our sales teams on it, BDCs on it. Portion of advisors are rolling it out right now that we did training and have X time and all that cool stuff. So we're ready to rock. The biggest thing though is you can't just do it and be like, oh, this is going to be great. Yeah. Communication is key, and they have to work as a team now, which I love, right? Mm-hmm. There's no skating each other really anymore because they're like, hey, can you help me with this delivery on this day? I'll make sure I cover your deliveries if somebody has to come on that day. They've also learned how to talk to customers in a much more professional manner in order to control their schedule.
That's so interesting. So did the managers like this? Did they like this? I'm sure, because I'm just thinking about people and I'm like, oh, guess what, guys? We're doing a 4-day work week. And they're going to be like, oh, and I'm sure that did not go over 100% well. Did it?
I just did it and then asked for a forget. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. So the conversation really, yes, initially, right? Everybody's like, no. But at the same time, when you start making changes based off data and they keep working, there's less and less pushback over time. And what are we going to do? Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result? Okay,
You're crazy.
Cool. We're really struggling to hire these types of people that we want, but let's just keep doing it. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I agree. We do it all the time.
And then also we were rolling it out in areas where we felt like it would be successful first.
Okay.
And then we're like, okay, let's really push this thing and do it in sales where everybody says it won't work.
Okay. Great advice. Okay. You've given us quite a few techniques that you've implemented in your dealerships to create a good culture that people want to come back and work in. You know, I oftentimes look at people and they're like, oh, I have to go to work. But yet now it's kind of exciting to go to work and be committed when you know that your company is behind you. And I imagine you get some feedback from people, whether it's the trainings or it's leveraging the personality test to ensure that you're putting people in the right placement, that they're going to work alongside the right managers that gel with them. You know, you're looking to make it a great place to work, whether it's, the 4-day work week. But what changed for you in making these? What kind of outcomes did you start to see or be able to gauge and say, yeah, this is working, other than the data?
Yeah. So of course we had increased sales per salesperson. That was awesome. Our BDC members were following up better. Like, everything just kind of improved, right? Because they're more productive, refreshed when they're there. But the biggest thing, I think, is communication.
Okay.
Communication throughout automotive industry is sometimes not very impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't necessarily know how to communicate with each other. We don't necessarily understand each other. We have very high drive in a lot of salespeople that doesn't necessarily translate well to, like, let's say your accounting office.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started doing predictive index and, people weren't as exhausted with a 4-day work week and all that stuff, they started to figure out how to communicate better and more professionally internally. So now all these things that used to get to me and be this like massive blow up over a tiny thing don't happen. And it creates a more peaceful environment too, because I might say to you, like, I know you're a captain or, whatever, I need to talk to you like this. And you're not trying to offend me. This is just the way that you speak.
These are derivatives from the personality test.
Yeah. And they're very proud of them. Everybody's proud of their own. So it's kind of interesting to watch them like gel and figure out who they might need on a project to cover a blind spot of theirs. It's just really the communication and the teamwork.
The camaraderie.
It's so much better. And my biggest pet peeve about automotive is that we operate in silos.
Totally.
And that drives me nuts.
Yes.
The silos are not down yet, but they are slowly starting to crumble just a little bit. And I think in the coming years, as automotive sales maybe aren't what they were in COVID, we have to rely on the communication between fixed ops and sales even more than ever.
That's right. That's what we're trying to do. Is a one customer. Yeah. And there's a lot of touch points. But when people gel well together, then it's easy for an advisor to be like, wait a minute, I just got a 5K decline. Instead of being like, ping, bye, you're going to get a call from our service BDC. I'm going to be like, oh, let me call my boy Joe in sales because Joe's my boy because we have lunch together and we talk and we engage and there's company events together. And I'm going to say, hey, Joe, come over here and talk to this guy and vice versa.
Exactly. And also communicating to everyone what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So often we only talk about data as far as the numbers are concerned, but we forget to break it down into the daily tasks that we need them to do. It's like, okay, here's your sales objective. Oh, awesome. Well, how the heck do I get there? So that's a big part of it as well.
Well, I like that because I always believe that if you don't have things broke down by the day, then you have a time management issue.
Yeah.
And when you have a time management issue with a lot of people internally, especially when we're competing against Instagram stories and TikTok.
Exactly.
So,
and that's the other part too, is when you're not at work constantly, like you have to grind.
Totally.
Like, you have to, when you get in there, be productive and be doing something.
Yeah.
And activity breeds activity.
Agreed.
When people are chilling at the sales tower or whatever, that used to be my pet peeve. It drove me nuts.
Yeah.
When I saw people like taking a leisurely stroll, like just, doing, that drove me insane because I truly believe that it's contagious.
Yeah.
So having everybody kind of on a schedule, they understand what they need to get done that day. They have the ample time off that they need to reset and come back their best selves is the best. And the tools to communicate with each other.
Yeah. Okay. You gave us a lot. Thank you guys. Well, thank you guys for coming out here and listening to Kayla. I hope you guys have some great takeaways. I'm going to publish this thing and I can't wait to share it with everybody. And thank you so much, Kayla, for your time always, your expertise. I love your leadership.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
Okay.
If you like these episodes and my sales game techniques, you should snatch up our latest dealer education program I'm hosting. It's called Jen's Remote Classes, and it's a 1-hour, once-a-week class with me alongside other dealerships all pursuing the same end game to achieve top 10% status in your dealership. For more info, hit me up. All my contact info's in the show notes. I want to hear from you. And follow Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki right now to get notified when episodes like this one drop. This is Jen on the podcast Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. See ya!